This is Analyzing How Transactions Affect Owners' Equity Accounts. This is Lecture 2-3 found on page 38 of your book. Again, we are just going to look at a few transactions and look at what happens to these T accounts and what happens to our owner's equity when those things are happening. So the first thing that we need to do is talk about what happens when we receive cash from selling something. Okay, so on August 12th it says we received cash from sales $295. And one thing that students get a little bit confused on, think back to general business. A sale doesn't just have to be for a product. Okay, a sale can be from a service too. So a lot of times, you know, in this company, this Techno Consulting, they are selling a service of going in and fixing a computer. So if it says received cash for you know, computer service, that's a sale that we made. We sold something. We sold a service. So don't get confused by thinking that we have to sell, you know, a good. You can also sell a service. So anyway, on August 12th, we received cash from sales $295. Again, here are my 4 questions I'm going to ask every single time. What accounts are affected? Well, I know my cash account is affected, and I know my sales account is affected. And sales is an owner's equity. Okay. That is under my owner's equity portion of my accounting equation. How is each account classified? We just did. No, we didn't. Cash is an asset. Yeah, I kind of did that. Sales is an owner's equity. Sorry. How is each classification changed? Well, if I receive cash, my pile of cash is getting bigger, and so my cash is going to increase. And when I make a sale, the worth of my business is also growing. Okay, so my credit side, which is my normal balance increase side of my sale account, is going to also increase by $295. So think of it as you have, you know, your worth in your company is your pile. Well, if I make a sale, my worth gets bigger, my net worth gets bigger. Okay, so how is each amount entered? We have a cash debit of $295 and an owner's or a sales credit of $295. The next transaction we have is on August 12th. We sold services on account to Oakdale School. This is what I'm talking about. Just because we didn't sell a good doesn't mean it's not a sale. I sold my service of fixing your computer to Oakdale School. So the things that are going to be the accounts that are going to be affected are going to be my accounts receivable, because Oakdale School owes me money. They didn't give me cash right away. They said bill me, so I'm going to do that. So they owe me $350. So accounts receivable and sale, because I sold my service. Okay. The accounts receivable is an asset. We're waiting on that money, so that's something that we own. Sale again is an owner's equity account. How is each classification changed? Well, the amount they owe me is going up. They used to not owe me anything. Now they owe me $350, so that amount of that pile has gone up. Also, the worth of my business has gone up because I've done $350 worth of sales or worth to my company. So I have an accounts receivable debit of $350 and a sales credit of $350. The next transaction we have is paying cash for an expense. Excuse me. So which accounts are affected when on August 12th I paid cash for rent? I know that my cash account is going to be affected and my rent expense account is going to be affected by that. So how is each account classified? Well, cash is an asset. We already know that. And we know that rent expense is under my owner's equity account because when I have an expense to my business, the worth of my company is going down. Okay, so expenses get a little bit funny because you would think anything on this owner's equity side would be the normal balance side would be a credit, which it is, but because we have expenses underneath my owner's equity account, the amount of my owner's equity is decreasing when I have an expense. So this rent expense needs to go under the debit side of owner's equity. Okay, and so the rent expense, if I have an expense, yes, the amount of expense goes up, but as a whole, my worth is going down. Okay. If you can just remember that an expense always has a debit balance, you will understand this. Just always remember a rent expense always has a debit balance. Okay, and the last transaction we're going to look at is on August 18th, we received cash on account from Oakdale School 200. So do you remember when we went to Oakdale School, we fixed their computers for $350 worth of sales, and they said, well, please bill us. Well, now it's come to the time when they owe us money, and they have 200 of the $350 to pay us back. Maybe we've gotten them set up on a payment plan. So which accounts are affected? My cash is going to be affected, and my accounts receivable will be affected. Both are asset accounts. I own both of those things. My cash amount, if I'm receiving cash, my cash pile is going up, so that would be a cash debit. And the amount of money that is owed to me is going down. They used to owe me $350, now they only owe me $150, so it has gone down $200, so that will be decreased. So number 4, we have a cash debit of $200 and an accounts receivable Oakdale School credit of $200. Okay, I guess we have one more transaction here. On August 12th, we paid cash to owner for personal use $125. Which accounts are affected? Well, my cash is going to be affected because I'm paying cash to someone. What we're going to talk about now is the drawing account, and this should be found on page 42 of your book. When the owner of the company takes money out of the company to use for something just personal, it is called a drawing account. They're drawing money out. Okay, when they do that, that takes away from the worth of our company. So when we're paying cash, the cash in our company is going down. That's decreasing. Okay, and our worth is going down. Remember, a normal balance is the credit side, so our worth is going down, and Kim Park drawing is going to go underneath that debit side of our owner's equity. So the normal balance of a drawing account is the debit side. So we are increasing $125 on the debit side of Kim Park drawing, and we are decreasing, or we have a cash credit of $125.